Welcome to our second try at my interview with Paul Elia. And we're going to be talking about his comedy special, your future comedy special, and how to do that. All right, we're going to do this. I am going to start this Insta Live right now. I would like somebody to put into the comments if you can hear us. And if so, we will continue on Instagram Live and not move over to Zoom. Can you guys hear us? Can you
I can
hear
hear.
us?
I can hear me fantastic.
I can hear me really great. Can anybody hear me on the Insta Live? Let's see. Let me just put in here. Can you hear
They
us?
can hear us, Judy.
Can they hear us?
They and and
Okay.
and they're saying we
Hallelujah.
sound great.
Okay, we're going to start right now. Welcome to my Instagram Live with my special guest, the fabulous, hilarious, the successful Paul Elia. So this is what we're going to do today, Paul. If you
All
don't
right.
mind, if you could hang with my peeps for a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about your special, The Good Son, which is absolutely amazing. And we're going to learn from that how you people can do your special. We're going to talk about how Paul not only developed material, but developed an audience. So when he went to film his special and did 3 shows, all of them sold out. This is going to be really special to hear. And then, Paul, if you wouldn't mind to hang with us, and we're going to I want you to throw some of your material with Paul, and Paul and I will punch it up. Is that cool with you, Paul?
Of course. Look,
Oh my gosh, that's great.
I love doing that, Judy. What I love that you give back to the community and give back to the comedians. So I'm following your lead on that. So I'm very grateful, honestly, to be able to offer services to anyone.
Okay, but these are comedy services. Okay, let's move on. Bada boom, bada bing. All right. So I want to talk, first of all, how the hell did you? It's so hard to fill seats, especially when people know you're shooting something. They're going like, "Ugh, is it going to be like cameras are going to stop? It's not going to be a real show." Paul, how did you get an audience? Tell me about your process to fill up where the audience was and how that worked, because I think it had to do with you double downing on your niche. But tell me all about that.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, someone gave me some great advice. I was in a bar in Detroit, and I was talking to a musician friend of mine, and he's Sikh. So he's a devout Sikh person with the thing, and he's a very talented guy. He's from Toronto, and I was talking to him about just like selling tickets, and he was like, "Listen, bro, no one is going to support you more than your own people. Your own people are going to support you the most." So when I really started to discover my own identity, because I'm a mix of things, because my parents are from Iraq, but also their specific ethnic background is they are Assyrian. And even more specific, they are Chaldean Assyrian. So
Let's
it's just
talk
like,
about drilling down. And,
it's
right.
so specific. Like with Assyrians, there's under I think 5 million Assyrians in the world. And Chaldean Assyrians, there's under 1 million. So there's not a lot. So what I really wanted to do was I really wanted to just share my experience of my journey of discovering my own identity. And it made a lot of Assyrians really respect me, because a lot of Chaldeans, they don't acknowledge they're Assyrian. There's a lot of Chaldees that say, no, we're not a part of Assyrians. That's like if someone's like Hasidic Jew, they're like, no, we're Hasidic Jews. We're not Jews. We're Hasidic. So it's like, yeah, but we're all a part of the Jewish family, right? They're like, no, 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 no. It's
No,
different.
no.
And honestly,
Yeah.
a lot of groups do this. Like there's some Muslims that say I am Sunni Muslim, or I am a Shiite Muslim, or just different like subsects, or say I'm Coptic Christian, or I am just Catholic. So there's a lot of divide within sub communities. So when I really started to call it out, I think a lot of people really appreciated me like mentioning it, because not a lot of people really mention it. So in Chicago, this is like the Assyrian capital of United States is in Chicago. So I wanted to shoot my special in Chicago for a few reasons. One, because I love the comedy in Chicago. I love Chicago in general for comedy. And also there's a large Assyrian population and also a large Arab population. So the Arabs, like my audience is mostly Arab, and it's a mixture of Christian, Muslim Arabs, all different types of Arabs, and Middle Eastern people in general, and Assyrians. So it's like there's a lot of a different mix of people. So when I was in Chicago, I wanted to make sure that they knew I was coming. So I went 3 months before my special taping, and
Listen to this, people. Listen to this, okay? Because this is what it takes. All right,
Yep.
go ahead.
Three months before my special taping, I was working with a comedian named Bassem Youssef. He was doing a run of shows, and I saw he was doing a run of shows. Now, he didn't ask me because he's already doing his shows. So I asked him, I was like, hey, man, I'd love to come out to Chicago. I'd love to do these shows with you. And he goes, yeah, come on through. So I asked him, I was like, so after the shows, is it okay if I promote my special taping? And is it okay if I pass out flyers? And he goes, dude, do whatever you want. Thank you for asking. You always want to ask a
So
headliner.
he had the audience that you wanted.
He had the
He
audience
was
that I
the
wanted.
link to that audience. Okay. And so you're opening for him or you're on the set with him and asked if you could promote your special to that audience, right? And the material that you did for that audience, was it specific to your Middle Eastern culture?
It was a mix because I don't want to just do material that's like, hey, there's a Middle Eastern crowd, here you go. Because like I like to make my comedy where I can do it in a Middle Eastern audience, I can do it in a white audience, any color, any creed can listen and enjoy it. So
Yeah.
I try to like zoom out as much as I can, and I'm like, all right, what is the human to human quality that someone doesn't need to have an immigrant parent to understand this? And so that's why I wanted the special to be more about being a good son and honoring your parents, and less of like honoring your immigrant parents, but just really honoring your parents.
I I love, I mean, what comes into your special is you're the master of act outs that I have been trying to get
Whoa.
all my students, like they'll come up with a line and they'll have like a punchline, right? And it's like, what are we, Shecky? What is this? You know, any young men, take my wife, please. I mean, that's not where the joke ends. And so what we do is like maybe you can have a punchline, but then jump into the scene. So can you pull something from what your mother says, just so we can hear her voice? Does
Yeah.
anything occur to you from your special when you're talking to her or trying to explain something to her? And this will show how it's so universal, and yet it's because his act out of his mother is something that the audience, I mean, everybody can relate to, but when you really have a mother with that cultural background, it is a gift to your audience. So can you do that a little bit, please? I,
For
I know
sure. And
it's horrible to
no,
ask you to
no,
do a joke.
because I like breaking it down like this because there's a specific joke where my mom was giving me some marriage advice, and the clip is doing really well. It's been like circulating and driving a lot of traffic to the special. So my mom was giving me marriage advice, and when I started to break down the joke, I was like, okay, is my mom standing or sitting when she's telling me this? I'm like to the point of specificity to where adding these extra layers that most comics don't do really helps tell the story even more. So my mom had this. So, and also I wanted to make sure my mom was talking in the. I was like, well, how far am I from my mom? So I didn't have to yell and be like, "There's a few things." I'm like, I don't need to like yell because my mom. I'm like, I decided to make that my mom is really close to me and she's being tender. So my mom says, Paul, we don't care who you marry. And when she says that, she's referring to my dad as well. So I want to make sure the hand motion indicates that it's like in the room. My dad, when she goes, we don't care who you marry, it's like my dad's also present. So if I
So
want to,
she's like, when you act her out, she's like looking at your dad, going like, "Well,
she,
yeah,
yeah.
okay."
And that detail just also, so when I bring in my dad, people are like, oh, so this does make sense because you already initiated the world by mentioning that the father is to her right. So I gestured to my dad. I'm like, Paul, we don't care who you marry, just as long as you love them and they love you. And they're the same race and religion as you. So that beat there, we don't, as long as you love them and they love you, that beat, I was like, beat. I take two beats. And then she goes, and they're the same race and religion as you. And then jumping in with that line, if I don't take that pause, that line doesn't work.
No, it's a classic list of three. As long as they love, they respect you. Da, 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 da. Yeah,
Boom.
and the speed of it too is. I mean, I find the list of three. People think like, oh yeah, these formulas are a hack, but if you do them as an act out, it's always kind of, and especially if a parent has an accent, it's I don't know, it just seems to make people laugh an awful lot, you know?
Even when the accent, like I have a friend of mine, she does an impression of her dad, and she's American. She's American, born in America. Her parents are Italian, and her dad doesn't have an Italian accent, but she does this thing with her dad where she makes her dad true to his side. She goes, and then my dad, he'll be like, "Look, Blair, I need you to grab the milk, okay? And I need you to grab it when you're back, right?" So like her dad has this thing where he talks, and at the end of his sentence, he'll like make this hilarious sound like, "All right, okay," like just like this quick check in, and it's like these you can find details in any characters, like whether it's an accent, whether it's just an intonation. Like if you can just do your best to try to sound as true to who you're impersonating as possible. People think, oh, it has to be so good. Like if I do Chris Rock, it has to sound like Chris Rock. It's like it doesn't need to sound just like them. It can just have the cadence of them, and the audience will give you grace. Like, okay, cool, this is this character.
Yeah, I want to like kind of recap because I think this is such good advice for all the comics. Many of them are new comics who are in on this call. And first of all, I love that you said I start with what where she's with her body. Is she standing? Is she sitting? And how far away is she from me? Because when you do an act out, you're no longer talking to the audience. You are your mother, usually, or somebody talking to yourself. So where are you? you know, and so that grounds you in reality. The other thing that I think is so important is even when you have a niche, not every joke has to be about that niche. That what you're doing is very universal. And the other one thing I want to emphasize is that you are original when you're doing your parents, when you're doing an act out, because nobody else has your mother. Nobody else has your father. And the way that, your friend who is a comic who does her father, that little thing, like that makes it totally original. So how do you and I want to talk about how you filled it using publicizing the Middle Eastern or Chechenian, is that how you say it? Or
Yeah.
Chaldean, all the ethnicities,
Yeah.
the
So
specifics of it. Yeah,
wh-
I
when
hear
I
you.
when I did that show with Bassam, I made 700 flyers. I passed them out to everybody. I had a QR code at the end of my set. I'd say, "Hey guys, want to let you know I'm filming my special November 14th. If you have any interest in coming, there's a QR code. And also, if you scan that QR code, I'm only keeping this live for the next 3 days. You get $10 off the ticket right now if you buy it only on that QR code. So keep that, scan that QR code, give it to a friend. If you can't make it, you can send it to someone else." So I basically made the call to action, let people know, like, listen, the time to act is now.
Yeah.
Like when you tell someone, hey, I'm doing a show next Thursday, come by, there's not a whole lot of urgency. And it's like, all right, next Thursday, cool. If something else comes up that's better, I'm just going to go do that. Like, that's why I was like, guys, you have 3 days. 3 days, you
Yeah.
get
Time
$10 off.
specific. Yeah.
Yeah, time specific. And then I got a few people's emails, and like some people were like, hey, man, I'd love to help you promote the show. People offered to help me promote. And they said, we'll send it to our group. We'll send it in our group chat. So I basically was like, listen, for you sending this in the group chat, I'm willing to offer you guys all discounted tickets. So I was just offering an incentive for people to help me spread the word. At the end of the show, I was talking to the owners of the comedy club, and I was like, would you guys be able to send a message to all the attendees for me and ask them and be like, hey guys, if you want to check out Paul's show, and would you be down to send an email just to them? They're like, you know what? Thank you for asking. We'll send it to our entire list of 25,000 people in Chicago.
Oh my
So
God.
so I asked. Most people won't ask because they would ask for like, oh, I don't want to seem like I'm needy. I don't want like whatever reason. Some people have hesitation to ask. I was like, I don't care. I'm just gonna ask. And the worst thing they can say is no.
Now, didn't you also call and look up specific organizations?
On Instagram, I went online and I looked up every student organization that was Middle Eastern, and I saw like a few, and all the Middle Eastern student associations shared it with their friends. I messaged a few nonprofits in that area. I asked them if they would be open to sharing it, and in exchange, I'll give them a thanks and the credit. So they all agreed to do that. So I probably had like 15 different organizations share it, and all of them mentioned that they shared it in their newsletter. So I would say it probably went out to over 100,000 different people based on me reaching out. And a publicist didn't do this. I did this on my own.
Yeah.
I reached out to them. I hit them up. Like, no, they're not going to reach out to you. And that's what a lot of comics don't realize. Like, people aren't going to hear there's a show and want to come because they love you. Like, even if they
No.
love you, you have to ask. So even when I asked them, they're like, oh my God, we love you. We're actually planning on going. Thank you for sending us this message. We'd love to share it. And then they ended up sharing it. And I was like, I'd love to do a collab post with you guys. Will you share my video? So I had all the organizations share it. I had the comedy club send an email. I started pulling out flyers on my own and just literally texting people in Chicago the flyer. And I'm like, hey, if you wouldn't mind sharing this with your friends. And then I ended up selling, 650 tickets.
Wow. Wow. The math on this is amazing. How much has to go out and to sell 600 seats, 650 seats. It's wow. That is so great. And you did it even though you had a publicist, and that's what it takes. To me, that is so powerful. Now, what I'd like to talk about is how did you develop? Because it seemed like just yesterday you did your Detroit Player special, which was an hour and incredible as well. And and now you have this whole new hour, which is very personal, so funny. Matter of fact, you should put the link in the comments to the YouTube, and everybody should go to that and watch that. And then also we're going to talk about the censorship that happened, because I want to tell that story that he specifically got flagged for a line about uh, Trump. But before I do that, I want to talk about how do you develop it? Like, did you go to open mics? Did you try things? How did you check that out?
I was doing I was trying it on the road, and I would basically do like the top of the show would be like 10 minutes of tried and true material that I know kills, and then the middle 30 is all the material I wanted to perfect for the special. So then of that 30, I'll be like, all right, 20 minutes works every time. The other 10 is not working. So after every show, I would record every set, and then I would listen to it. This is right after the show. I would listen to it, And I would start making notes, and I'm like, all right, this line doesn't work. This line is not working. This line is not working. And then I'd say this line works, but this line always falls apart. So I would basically highlight in green lines that work and highlight in like orange lines that were failing. And then I would try different tags. And then the next night when I would do the next show, I would try those different tags. And every weekend, if I would do 5 shows, I would walk away with at least 5 to 10 improved lines.
Tell people what it means to do a tag.
Like,
Gary Shandling would talk about this all the time, where he talked about, well, I write material on stage. Like I'll do a line, my joke, it gets a laugh, and then I'll improvise writing that wave of the laugh, and then that becomes new material. Tell me about how you see tags working for you to create new material.
yeah, like in the line with the joke about my mom, I say my mom's like, Paul, we don't care who you marry, just as long as you love them and they love you. And they're the same race and religion as you. That used to be the end of the joke. And then I added, and we pick her. You see? And then I stayed in this character. I was like, let me just stay in this character. Like, see, the reason why and she's virgin. Now, the reason why you should marry your cousin. And then I would wait for the audience to react. And when the audience reacts, I would react as my mom would react, as if she was in the room. So like, I'm like, the reason why you should marry your cousin is as easy. The reason why is because when you have children, you keep your blood pure. Now, the beat of like, I used to do the joke like this. That's when you have children, you keep your blood pure. I said it all as one line, and it wasn't getting a laugh. So I was like, you know what? Let me experiment with saying that's when you have children. Oh, I'm gonna do this thing right here. So my mom like, that's when you have children, and then we'll make my mom's hands go like this. And I imagine in the edit, the camera's gonna push in on me, and then I'm gonna say, you keep your blood pure. And I do it with a little bit more of like a sinisterness to it and a little bit more drama. So I was doing some shows and I was like, how come when I say when you have children you keep your blood pure? Why is it that that line doesn't kill as hard? So once I started to add those pauses, which I tried the next show, I was like, oh, it's getting better. Then I was like, let me see if I can pause even longer. So then at the end of that weekend, I was like, wow, I fixed that joke by adding those pauses.
Oh my God. You know, uh, who was, a comic was talking about the late, great Richard Jenny, which is a compliment that we could give you on this joke, is that when he was done with the present, with a premise, there was no meat left on the bone, and what I feel as comics, out of insecurity, what we do is we get the laugh and we go, phew, we got the laugh, next joke, right? And it's kind of like we are, when you go those monkey branching, you go from one bar to the next, right? And we just get to the next one, get to the next one, get to the next one. I see it as that swing, like to enjoy the off balance swing and to delay and to push it, getting to the next joke as long as possible, and to play with that time in between jokes. I mean, first of all, beginners all step on their laugh. So they get the laugh and they go the next one, or they look down and they kill the laugh. And I'm saying to keep the head up, to stay with it, and then see what occurs to you, in that moment. Because I think when we're on stage, we're at our most creative being. It's not like we're in a room writing, thinking this might be funny. We're with the audience, and why not use it, right?
This is a perfect example of not asking for permission, because a lot of comics, once they get the laugh, they're like, okay, cool. Thank you so much for this laugh. let me just that's why like a lot of comics you see beginning comics, their jokes are like or sort of like one liners with like so my mom's this which makes me blah blah blah. So the other day I decided, and it's like, yo, hang on a second. There's more there, and it's because people don't know, and honestly, it just comes with time. Like even I have a joke in my special where my dad is basically when I was living with my parents, my dad was like, hey, where were you? And I'm like 37 at the time when my dad asked me this question, and I was like, Dad, I don't have this conversation with you. And the joke was like, I don't have this conversation with you. So I walked away and that was the end of it. And I was like, wait, what really happened? So I was like, my dad said, where were you? And I was like, Dad, I don't have this conversation with you. Also, you're not wearing any pants. So adding this detail about what he's wearing opened up a whole 4 minutes of tags about how my dad always wants to have serious conversations when he's in his underwear.
Underwear. It's so, I love those kind of jokes where you just shift the visual, right? Like we're
And they don't see
picturing
it
something
coming.
in our head and then you turn it, right? It's like, whoa.
Yeah, and that just requires thinking very critically about where you are in the joke. Like as an example, it's like, all right, how far is your dad from you from the joke? Where are you in the joke? What is he wearing? Like, so I started to ask myself those questions. I was like, all right, well, my dad said, where were you? What was happening? And I was like, let's see, my dad was in the kitchen when he asked me, and he was eating some food, and he was in his underwear. And then I was just like, oh, that's hilarious. I'm like, how do I say he was in his underwear without giving it away? And like what the mistake a lot of comics make is that they give all the juice away in the beginning.
Yeah.
They're like, so I walked in the kitchen and my dad's standing there in his underwear, and he goes, where were you? And I'm like, no, 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 you don't need to say that yet. You can give that detail later and make that detail a punchline.
Oh, that is so true. You know, we're getting some questions here. Desmond from Jesmond, okay, said, "Well, how do you trust yourself? Is that just experience? Sometimes I get stuck because I have a thought and then the fear hits. Um, how? I mean, you've dealt with a lot of fear. I mean, how do you get past it?
You know, Judy, as someone who's been rejected
Well,
so
I
many
haven't
times.
been rejected. I wouldn't know anything about that,
Yeah,
Paul.
yeah,
Please share what it feels like to me.
I, I just like, I feel like there was a certain point in my act where, again, I just stopped asking for permission. I just didn't care if they liked me because I felt like I was still holding on to my dignity. So that helped me work with the silence because I'm like, sure, they're quiet, but I feel like they respect me. So when I would like say something and try it and the audience is quiet, I'm like, I don't think they're quiet thinking he's bombing. I think they're quiet taking it in. So once I understood that, it allowed me to like use the silence more to explore and learn because at the end of the day,
Ah,
the audience is going to leave and they're probably not even going to remember. So I'm like, look, maybe I suck today in front of all of you, but next time you see me, like I just did a show at a lodge and it did not go well. And I was bombing for half my set. And I was bombing doing an act out. So I'm doing an act out for like 3 minutes. And and a minute and a half in, no laughs. Nothing. And then eventually at the end, I got a big pop. And I was like, oh, so they were following me along. So what I realized is like, I should just cut this middle chunk and just get to the end sooner. But I wouldn't have gotten to that realization if I would have given up halfway through because they're not laughing.
that is such a good point. You know, in my research for the Comedy Bible, the very first one, the Old Testament, uh,
Uh,
I
I
now there's a feedback here. Oh, there it's gone. Okay, so what I found was female comics had a different reaction to not getting a response to a joke than men. And it was very interesting to me. And I learned a lot about it because we women get so much of our worth from being accepted, being, we need people to like us. We need to, people to think we're good, we're funny, we're this, we're that. Anyway, so men, when a joke bomb, kind of had your approach was, well, I wonder what happened. What are some of my options? And where women were like, oh, I sucked. They didn't like
Mm.
me. So one way is a closed door to being better, to take it personally, which I have done so much of my life, and it's such a waste of time, right? And the other way is with the intention of, okay, I really want to be good at this, and so how do I make this better? And I love the idea about comedy. It's like that, I do these right, like these jigsaw puzzles, okay?
That's
Now
hilarious.
the reason I do jigsaw puzzles is because it comes with like a picture. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. It's kind of like this is what my career is going to look like. And it looks like it's a mess, but I love the idea that there's always a solution. Like these pieces are all going to fit together. I just have to get the frame, right, which is probably like a niche. And then there is a solution. And that's where you're at when you perform, Paul, which is such a incredible creative place, an expansive creative place to be. Is this didn't work? Let me try this. Let me try this. Let's make a different choice. And because when we get an idea, it's like trying to force these. Is this too much with
No,
the
this is
puzzle?
honestly, look,
Trying to force it together, but you're going like, there is a solution. I'm going to find it, and I'm going to just try different things and not take it personally.
but also, Judy, to yes and that. And it's like once you have the pieces, you're like, how come they're not fitting? And the question I ask myself is, all right, what is the joke about? And then once you start asking these questions, then you realize, oh, this piece is just not fitting.
Ah,
Like I'm trying to do a puzzle with a barn and some animals, and why do I have a skyscraper piece? Why do I
oh
have this dick
shit.
joke? Why is
That's
there a
from a
dick joke?
different puzzle that slipped into this puzzle.
Yeah, it's a different
Damn
puzzle.
it. I'm doing the farmhouse. How did New York City skyline get into my fucking puzzle? All right. I don't think this has ever been talked about, comedy and jigsaw puzzles. But anyway, I
Listen,
want to, before we get into coaching, and by the way, guys, start lining up. And I just want you to throw an idea you have at Paul. It doesn't have to be a completed joke. It could be, I want to do a joke about XYZ. Um, and it's usually best when we start with a topic that is hard, weird, scary, stupid. Like you have some kind of emotional resonance with this topic. But let's talk about what the f happened when you put your special on YouTube and you got this letter, a cease and desist letter. What the tell people about this, because this is very problematic in this country right now.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. So for independent artists, and I think most comics are doing this route. The industry is very careful of who they want to do business with, and most people, if you're like me, you're impatient and you're proud of your work. So the best way to do it is just put it in front of people. People have movies for film festivals. They want to get people to like it. And it's like you could bypass all that. Here it is online. What do you think of it? So we're living in this culture now, and I'm embracing it. So when I shot the special, I was like, I'm putting this on YouTube. I'm not going to shop this around. I'm not going to ask Hulu, Netflix, HBO, or any of these big streamers. I'm just going to put it online and let the success do the talking. And I felt really confident in the rollout strategy. So I had money set aside to do Google ads, which I had a team of people that were very effective. They have a great track record of getting things seen. And I knew that if people saw my special, even the first 2 minutes, it would make them want to watch the whole thing. So I was really looking forward to this rollout. The rollout got halted because all my Google ads got rejected because they mentioned that in the special, I say Trump's name. And if you say Trump's name in anything that you want to advertise through Google, that piece of content gets put into another category and it must be verified for election advertising certification. If you say, and they say any politician's name, but in the email that I got, they mentioned you said Trump's name. So I don't know if like you say Biden, they'll let that slide, or you say Obama or Clinton or Epstein. I don't know what these buzzwords are that make the algorithm halt your promotion, but that's what they did to me. So the people that I had work with me, they used to be former Google employees. So they know some people at Google. So they found a way to like get through to a human being and they're like, "Hey, we only have 48 hours to like really pump this out." Obviously the first 48 hours really tells the success of a video, which is kind of how we're living now. Like if you post your special and it's 48 hours and your special has like 2,000 views, very hard for it to just blow up. Very hard for it to just blow up. Like most specials, you in the first 48 hours, when you see it really go up, that's when you can tell, like, all right, cool, I have something here. So for me, it didn't have that. And they mentioned because of the Trump thing. So we asked if they would just lift the ban to be like, hey, can you just lift this flag? Clearly it's a comedy special. You're a human being. Can you just see it and watch and see that it's a comedy special? And they said no. They said, we're not going to do that. You have to go through this election certification. The election certification can take days, but there's some cases where it's taken weeks and months. So I didn't want to go through that. So I was like, I'm just going to use this as PR and I'm just going to, because I don't have to compromise my work, because the other option is take that joke out. I didn't want to compromise my work. So I shared my frustrations with the people at Watermelon Pictures. And they're like, look, we'll put this on our
Wait, what's
platform.
Watermelon Pictures?
Watermelon Pictures is an independent production company and they have their own streaming service called Watermelon Plus. They have around like 20. I don't know how many subscribers they have, but they're pretty niche. They're Middle Eastern, very niche. They do a lot of independent projects. The two brothers are two Palestinian brothers. They do a lot of Middle Eastern stories. So I've met them before. They've seen me do stand up. So they were like, look,
These
we
are
have.
the Google ad people that you've hired.
Yeah, the Google ad people helped me get in contact with the people at Watermelon Pictures.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
So the
Watermelon.
Watermelon Pictures people were like, look, we'll put this on our platform. We'll promote it for you. We have a very large reach. So they started to promote it. They got a hold of someone at Variety to do a story on this. Variety did a story on it. So,
Wait, I didn't know Variety did a story on it.
yeah, Variety covered the
What
story.
was the hook?
The hook was a comedian releases special on Watermelon Pictures after promotional blockade.
Oh, what was
After promotional restrictions, yeah.
unbelievable? So that worked to your advantage.
Yeah, it worked to my advantage. And then I posted it on Reddit. I posted a screenshot and I was like, hey guys, my special got flagged for Google X. I mentioned Trump's name. I had to go through the certification. Why do comedians have to verify that they're comedians? Like why, like I understand that there's politicalness and I understand in Cambridge University there was something that happened and there's all these flags and things that I totally understand that, but it's like if I'm a stand-up comedian, is there any way that a human being can just look and be like, okay, cool, this is a comedian, he's obviously promoting something, this is different, like why are all the now everyone has to suffer for this. So a part of me just felt like I was wronged as an artist. So I shared it on Reddit and that got almost 500,000 impressions.
I bet on Reddit, I bet people got like, go, Paul, we are behind you. We support you.
Yeah, both. I
Right?
got Go Paul, then I got just apply for the verification, bro. I got a lot of those. And then I also got a lot of, yeah, this is how it is now. If you don't like the rules, get out. So I was getting a variety of people. Then people would have my back and say, no, this. So it created some discourse. and create a conversation. So I actually appreciated the conversation because I think there should be a conversation. So overall, like a lot of people were coming up to me and like, I'll tell you this, the comedians were so supportive, Judy, especially
Yeah.
people like you. You were very supportive. You immediately sent an email to one of your colleagues to be like, hey, you should talk to Paul about this. So I felt very touched by my friends that had my back. And so I was honestly, I'm glad it happened because I think it created the conversation. And honestly, this special is not going to live for 30 days. It's going to live for the rest of YouTube. So I do feel like 20 years from now, 10 years from now, I don't know what time, people are going to watch it and be like, you know what, this is a banger. So
It
I'm
is a
happy with it.
banger. Everybody has to absolutely go watch it. I I love this story. I We were talking about also how last week, what really happened was that there's a problem with Instagram software because other people end up were having this issue, and Paul and I are going, oh damn it, and we're trying so hard to make it happen. But it's just kind of like, and we were talking about the opening for my book, where the day it opened, Amazon shut down. It couldn't sell my book, and coincidentally, someone hacked my website and put a big dildo on it. But the whole thing is, as Gilda Radner says, it's always something. And how do we take that something and turn it to our benefit? Like, turn it to having people rally up for us? Because in our community, comics aren't known to have community and stand up for each other. But especially when that comic, I don't know if you heard about in India, who didn't even mention a politician's name, but kind of like alleged to who he was talking about. And the supporters of that politician burnt down the comedy club. And the comic had to go into hiding. And this is the world we're living in now. And comics have always been truth tellers. We all have. And when one of us gets censored, I think it was huge what happened to Jimmy Kimmel and and how everyone rallied. And I think these things are important to happen because it gives us an opportunity to support each other, which we will do right now. Who wants to come up here and try some things out? That would be so awesome. Come on, everybody.
Listen, guys, you
This
got the
is where you
best
say
comedy
yes.
punch up team in the game right now.
What?
We are the best comedy punch up team. You guys are getting Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant right now. I'm not going to say who's who. This is Jordan Pippen.
Oh, they're calling me a legend now. I think that just means I'm really old. Anyway, we got some people here. Okay, Michelle, you're going to come up here. That's great. I love Michelle. All right. Come on, people, line up. This is where you should go. Yes, I'm there. Let
Wow.
go of your fear. Hey, Michelle,
Wow. Thank you so
you were the
much.
first to press that button, so
Wow.
you have
Yeah.
what it takes to be a stand-up
Real,
comic right
real
then
quick.
and there. That's
Thank
all
you
I'm going to
so
say.
much. I really appreciate the conversation, and you two are just so amazing and really excited to share.
Great. So tell us you have something you're working on that you'd like some
Yeah,
help with.
for sure. Something that I really like right now is challenging myself to expand on certain one-liners, like you mentioned. And something that I'm really enjoying right now is saying, I've got a type. I'm really into guys who can quote Bible verses because it means they're used to being brainwashed. And then
Okay.
I've gone back and forth and been like, I'm your religion now, or like, come get this communion. Um, that's one. And then I have another one too.
Wait. Okay. Okay,
Sorry.
let me just so tell me a little bit about yourself. You're single or are you
Yeah,
married or these
I'm single.
Okay, so you're single. Have you been married?
Mm-mm.
Okay, you haven't been married. And are you religious at all?
Yeah, I'm religious and spiritual. I'm a lot of things.
Okay, so you're religious and you're spiritual.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you think women really enjoy dominating men? Is
No.
that something that you're really into? Is there like a truth behind this that you tend to be on the bossy side? Are you like, is that something that you've been known? See, I feel like a joke has to reveal something about us. Like, where
Ooh.
are we in the joke? And I think that joke would be cooler if it was more about revealing, and I think this is so cool for female comedians to do, is to kind of like make fun of women. uh it's refreshing, right?
I
so
agree.
so right now, so tell me any of the truth about yourself, and what, uh, you know in your relationships with men.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You always ask the best questions, Judy. You make me like my whole brain just kind of, so I really appreciate that about you. Something else I've been saying is like, um, I know I'd be a good mom because I basically raised my last two boyfriends. Well, like the one is still breastfeeding,
Okay, great.
little Travis.
Okay. Well, I just kind of feel like you're very funny. These jokes are funny, but I'm not sure what the reality is about it to get me hooked in there. So, Paul, what would your questions be?
I'll just say two things. So you got heckled by my Bluetooth. So the first thing I heard I'm religious, or I like guys that quote Bible verses, and then it cut out. So can I hear that opening line one more time?
Yes, I've got a type. I like guys who can quote Bible verses because it means they've been brainwashed.
They're used to being brainwashed,
They're
is
used to
what you
being brainwashed. Yeah, thanks, Judy.
right.
Okay, they're used to being brainwashed. Okay, so that's the first beat. So yeah, it's like kind of like one of those things where it's like I think the wording of it is fine. I mean, I would experiment, but like when you do, how many times you tried that joke?
10.
10 times. What would you say the batting average is? Is it's 10? Would you say 8 out of 10, 6 out of 10? What would you say the batting average is for it to like hit?
8 to 10. 8 out of 10, yeah.
8 to 10. So that's a high average, right?
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
a high average. So I tend to not try to fix things that aren't broken. Like
Hmm.
if it was working like 6 out of 10 or 5 out of 10, I'd say, why don't you toy with a couple of words? Like you could be like, I like brainwashed men. I mean, I'm Christian, so like, I see where the joke comes in, but it's like, I feel like right after you say that, a lot of people who are religious would probably want more of an explanation, because the interesting part about that is that why you feel like people that quote the Bible are brainwashed. So I
Yeah.
like Judy's follow-up question, because once you say that, it's sort of like you got my attention now. So like I'm sitting up waiting to hear what's next. And if the joke that comes next is, anyway, so I have a cat, it's just sort of like, damn, you set up this thing. So I feel like if anything, that's a great one-liner premise for a larger joke about why you feel like religion brainwashes people. And also, what is it about brainwashed men that you like?
Yeah, I love
Me
that. I
too.
also would like to know what verses specifically brainwash them. I would like
Yeah.
your interpretation of I don't know. I've never read the Bible, but
Yeah.
Great book.
You
Great
you
book, let me
wrote the
tell you.
comedy Bible. You wrote the comedy Bible, Judy. Let's go.
to be brainwashed. Okay, don't eat shrimp, don't eat lobster. Oh, okay. Don't here's how it could be. How it could be, the joke could be, to explain it, to maybe do an act out, Paul, after it, because it does need something else. It's too strong of you know, a a premise to just let it drop, because I like guys who are easy to brainwash. I mean, if you actually believe, like, okay, the end of life is coming, Jesus is coming back, it's like, okay, it makes it easier to say, hey, it's your responsible, do all the vacuuming, or you're not getting a blowjob. I don't know what it means or whatever. I'm just making shit up, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's like if you believe that, it's easy to convince men of this. Or maybe it's something about money. It's something about,
Yeah.
like something about money, something about like, I mean, if you can actually believe, um, I, because I don't know the Bible, I just know Jesus loves me. This I know, for the Bible tells me so. And
Yeah, like
you,
brainwashed men always text back. You know what I'm saying? Like a good brainwash, I want a brainwashed guy, so I could be like, no, listen, you are ready for a relationship. I know. Look. I know. Just put down Genesis for 2 seconds. Like, because I think the connection is like brainwashed men are like easier to get in a relationship with. So I like having ridiculous lines. Like I'll say like, brainwashed men always text back because like honestly, that's why atheist men always leave me. They're like, I don't believe in anything.
I love what Dre said. She said, they'll do anything if an old guy in the sky tells them what to do. So I just put a speaker in the ceiling to do it,
Hilarious.
or something like
So
that. Do some
funny.
Wow, what a
practice.
line.
But
Someone just text that in the chat.
yeah, I put a speaker in the ceiling.
What a great line. But
Okay.
I'm not seeing I'm not seeing the comments in the chat. Is it like, are
Oh
they like,
well,
okay?
I'll read them to you. Anyway, let's
Thank
do
you both.
Phyllis Does Comedy. And
Yes.
hey, thanks for coming up here with that. I think
Thank
you got some
you.
really great ideas, and you sink into them. If you're
Yeah.
talking about Bible verses, I really do believe that anything you mention in your setup needs to be act out. So if you're going, who loves Bible because you're easy to blame, I need to hear the Bible verses.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Like if they believe Jesus loves me, that I know because the Bible tells me so. It's easy to go, yeah, I love you. Now, buy me the car. Well, I told
Yes.
you so. I don't know. But I need an act out of what you talked about. All right.
Okay. That's great. Thank you both.
Yeah,
I really
and
appreciate
also the last thing I'll mention is the more you explore this, the more you'll like learn about yourself. And it's like it is really good because all this information, let's say if it's not pertinent to the joke, it could be used in like a script later. It could be used in like, maybe another joke. So it's like the more you investigate and the more you like go through these details, the more you keep going under, you're gonna find more and more things. So like even all your one liners, even the one about you feel like you're raising your exes,
Yeah.
even being like, what is it about, like, do I like raising men, do I like being a mom, is this my motherly instinct, do I always feel like I have to save them, is there something about irresponsible men that I'm attracted to? If I see a man with a job and is responsible, I'm like, sorry, this is a major turn off. Like, you know what I mean? Is it like if like they say don't fix something that's not broken, I don't want to break anything that's fixed.
That's funny.
Paul, this is so great.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. And thank you, Michelle. In the upper right corner, there's an
Awesome.
X.
Thank you
Click
both.
it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Hey, this has been kind of like dig deep with Paul Elia, the good son.
Hey, listen,
By the
Judy,
way,
everything I learned, I'll say this right now, everything I learned a lot about comedy, Judy, is because of the Comedy Bible
oh,
and learning from you. So I would say anyone who really wants to understand the mechanics, there's some gems in the Comedy Bible. Don't just go and look up the preface or just some certain selected chapters. Buy the book, read the whole book, and you will be a better comedian for sure.
thanks, Paul. And go watch The Good Son. Comment on it. All right. Let Paul
Comment,
know.
bro.
I'm
Everyone in this
sure
room should comment.
every night before he goes to sleep, he's reading the comments. So
I am.
make his night.
I am.
Bye, Paul. Bye, everybody. See you all next week.
See you. Thanks, Judy.